Hello guys, Ryan Ho back with another video. Today we have the iFi Go Link 2, or actually it's called the iFi Go Link Max because everything has to be Pro Max nowadays because of Apple. And this is honestly the most surprising thing I've heard in a long time. This thing, like a lot of times I'll say this thing punches above its weight or it's really good value. This one is just straight up like this competes with their higher end stuff around like the $500 and $800 stuff. Like this thing really just seems like it has no limits, honestly. The upgrades that this has made over the predecessor is basically unimaginable. Like the only thing that's similar between these two is that they look the same with the same color, but I'm telling you, in regards to just the sound, the performance, it's just a complete overhaul, and they're only charging like I think $20 more for this one. So the performance on this is pretty crazy. So yeah, previously they were charging, $59 for the prior. The new one is $80. So that $20 increase, you get honestly a much better product. It's almost unimaginable how much improvement they have made. Essentially, I mean, one of the things you can see is it kind of gained some weight, right? This thing is a lot thicker. The power on this thing has just gone through the roof. I believe this one had about 70 milliwatts. Now it puts out 241 milliwatts of power, which is a lot more. You can now actually have 4.4 balance as well as a connection, so you can put more stuff and plug more things in there. They actually separate the channels in there, so there's actually two DACs, one handling left, one handling the right. So you get improved performance overall, more power, better sound, better connection. Like really the only downside, I guess, for some people is it's just bigger, I guess, but it's really not that much bigger, to be honest. And yeah, the improvements in sound quality are pretty crazy. Like I would actually take this as my sole device to an audio show and just use that instead. And that's kind of why I personally am interested in a lot of these dongles, is because I'll go to like can jams or audio shows to test other headphones and stuff. So I need to bring something with me. And at first I actually really liked the first one. The first one was I actually bought to me about, I think 2 years ago actually. And actually no, it's only been a year. And I used this as my sole device, but I ran into only one problem with this device. It was only for a headphone. It was actually one of these FIO headphones I have up here, but it was their bigger brother, the FT3 350 ohm. And that basically means that it requires power to drive. And this thing actually got brought to its knees and didn't have enough power for the older iFi Go Link. So I actually had to find something that had better power that wouldn't be brought to its knees. And I also wanted something that had a balance port, would be a lot better. So I ended up using the Hydis because the Hydis was a good DAC. It sounded even better. It was about $100, a little bit more expensive, but it had the balance port and it had a 3.5 millimeter. And this is what I kind of was using for a while, and this was really doing really well. And this is actually the one I took this year to an audio show to listen to because it was the best thing I heard so far. And then after that, I think the FIO kind of jumped in for like a month, I guess. This is the FIO K15. It was probably the best thing I've heard so far, but it has a little bit more of a neutral or even slightly warm type of sound to it. So the treble isn't as forward as it is on maybe even these prior devices. So it was a little bit more chill sounding, but it definitely had a lot of detail, a lot of functionality. It has a screen and everything. So this thing really was really nice. And I still think it has the most functionality and a type of sound that people like. But moving on to the Go Link Max, I feel like the Go Link Max isn't even in the same realm as these other ones. This thing, like I said, I think this thing sounds like those $500 DAC amps that iFi sells. They have the iFi Kensei, they have the Diablo. This thing competes with those, honestly. Like it really sounds that good. I feel like I honestly challenge other people to kind of listen to this, and the treble and the dynamic range on this device is honestly kind of out of this world. This kind of reminded me of one of the reviews I reviewed of the SMSL SU-X DAC, and that thing just had like treble extension. It just like, I felt like, when you're listening to music, it just feels like the top end just goes on for infinity and beyond. Like you really just like, seems like there's just no limits about how high they go. And it just feels like there's really just no limits is the best way to describe it. Your sound doesn't really feel like it's being held back by the DAC amp. And that's really the type of feeling it got from this iFi Go Link Max. And I did a lot of comparisons, like I said, to other ones, and really even to my desktop DAC amp. and it honestly has better extension than my current DAC that I'm using, which is the SMSL SU9. So it's pretty crazy how much they kind of optimize this. A lot of people will probably listen to this and say it probably sounds bright, but honestly, I think it's the dynamic range of this. No one's ever heard it that clean, that clear, that it might sound like it's bright, but I'm telling you, it's not. It's just because it's so clean sounding, it's so accurate sounding that it sounds just so real, I guess. That's the best way to describe it. The dynamic range they measure this actually to be 130. Of all the iFi products, this is actually the highest one I've seen from any of their like devices in, I think, like recent memory. Honestly, there's no device I think they made actually has as much. So even their measurement of how well does it perform is pretty much off the charts. And I have to say, like, listening to it, it is pretty much unrivaled at this price of how good it is. Like, I feel like they just outdone themselves on this product. It is truly just a marvel. But yeah, most people will probably just plug this into their phone, and that's pretty much the use case for this. But you can also plug it into like your computer because it's a USB Type-C, and it'll give you great audio without, you know, being a burden too. This thing is really small. You can bring it around. So you can bring it in your laptop, you can bring it in your pocket. It's really small and compact, and it sounds that good. So I feel like those are the major benefits of this thing, because it sounds good and it's compact and it's portable. It doesn't really require to be run on a battery or anything. You don't need to charge it. It just uses your phone battery or your laptop. So yeah, it's pretty useful, honestly. So I did try the dongle with a variety of headphones. So we have my Abyss Diana MR. This thing is like the most resolving headphone I've ever listened to. It is quite amazing. You can basically hear everything on this. This is kind of one of the reasons why I bought it, to be honest, because it just makes reviewing DAC amps and listening things just really easy, because it has a really good tuning and it's just like absolutely just mind-blowing detail. But I also tried it with, you know, the FiiO FT1 Pro, and then we had the FiiO FT1, the normal one. So honestly, I feel like this dongle with these two headphones is basically the like budget kings in a sense, if you consider, I guess, $150 and $80 to be budget. But I feel like there's a lot more expensive stuff out there, and if you just want a really good experience, you want somewhere to start, I'd probably go with the FT1 plus this, and you'll have just an amazing experience. So when it comes to the sound of this, I mean, coming down to the bass, I mean, the bass, it hits hard, you hear everything. The mid-range comes out very forward, very just honestly, vocals in the mid-range and instruments just sound very good there. There's really just nothing I could pick out that was wrong with this, to be honest. But like, I feel like what really pulls it apart from, honestly, its competition is the treble. It's just like, it just extends forever. Like I said, you feel like everything just unlocked, honestly, and it's just like the cap or the ceiling has just been lifted. That's just the best way to describe it. It's very, very, very amazing at how well it does that. Now, when it comes to, I guess, soundstage and how big it sounds, I would say the sound's actually pretty decent for a dongle. I'm sure some desktop stuff will sound wider, but honestly, I didn't really have any issues with it. It separated well. It just did everything properly, everything at a higher class, higher level than anything in its competition. It's honestly just smashes its competition. It's not even close, honestly. So this thing really is just that good. I don't know how much, you know, better I can describe it. That's basically it. So yeah, I spent a long time, I feel like, just shilling this, but honestly, the iFi GoLink Max at $80 is just a crazy deal. That's really the best way to put it. I challenge people to listen to this and tell me if it sounds better than their, you know, much more audiophile, more expensive stuff, because I really doubt it sounds that much better than this, because this thing is quite good, quite resolving. And it really is, honestly, I feel like I've been saying this way too much recently, but this could be one of the best things out there, and it could shake up the market if people listen to this. And of course, if you have IEMs and stuff like that, you can also use this as well. I feel like a lot of people, you know, don't know what a good DAC amp really sounds like, to be honest. They use Apple dongle and stuff, and because someone told them that's like the best thing ever, and that's the only thing they need, and DAC amps don't matter, they just never really listen to anything better, to be honest. And I promise you that this will sound a lot better than all those things you tried. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe down below. Helps my videos out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.